Hello and welcome back. I'd like to encourage you to take your seats at this time. We are about ready to get started. Thank you so much for your patience and cooperation this morning. How's everybody doing? Well, I have to say that we're all in the right place at the right time. So let's move forward. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome to the stage the President and CEO of the Hawaii Community Foundation. How about a nice round of applause for Mr. Kelvin Takeda? Sir.
Thank you, Tony. And mahalo to all the talented youth who performed for us today. Can you give them another round of applause, please? On behalf of the Pillars of Peace program of the Hawaii Community Foundation, I want to welcome you to this special event. We feel very privileged to co-host Aung San Suu Kyi's visit to Hawaii and to sponsor today's event for our students. As many of you know, the Pillars of Peace program launched last year with a visit by His Holiness the Dalai Lama. By a show of hands, how many of you were at one of the Dalai Lama events? Great. We have our Pillars of Peace groupies. The Pillars of Peace program was created to encourage each of us to look for ways to practice peace in our daily lives. And through this program, our hope is that you will have the opportunity to learn from the wisdom of global leaders like the Dalai Lama and Aung San Suu Kyi, and to share with them Hawaii's unique culture, history, and spirit of aloha. As I look into the audience at the hundreds of students who have made the effort to join us on this precious day off from school, I'm inspired and feel hopeful that our next generation will build on the values of peace and compassion. You are our future, and we hope that the Pillars of Peace program will ignite within you the determination to make our community more vibrant, tolerant, and compassionate. This special event would not be possible without the support of teachers and students from the Department of Education, the Hawaii Association of Independent Schools, the East-West Center, and the University of Hawaii. So let's give them a round of applause and thank you for being here today. I'd now like to introduce Pam Omidyar, who will in turn introduce our honored guests. Pam, along with her husband Pierre, were the visionaries behind the Pillars of Peace program. As a parent and a humanitarian, Pam has dedicated her life to creating peace where there is turmoil, joy where there is hatred, and courage where there is fear. Knowing this about Pam, it comes as no surprise to many of us that she's a local girl, growing up in Hawaii and attending Haeoni School and Iolani Schools. Iolani School rocks right up front. Here we go. Pam not only knows about the aloha spirit, she lives it every day. She has a passion for science and a love of humanity, and she's found creative ways to combine both in elements in her life's work. In founding Hope Lab, Pam created a video game to help kids with cancer take control of their disease, and is now experimenting with other tools and technologies to help children live healthier lives. Through her work at Humanity United, Pam is a tireless advocate for those without a voice, especially women and girls, and victims of mass atrocities like the events that have unfolded recently in Darfur. Pam's energetic mind, dedication to her work, and sincere heart make her a model for us all. Please join me in thanking Pierre and Pam Omidyar for their generosity and their vision, and welcome Pam to the stage. Aloha.
Thanks, Kelvin. Aloha and good morning. It is wonderful for us to be together on this very special day to welcome Aung San Suu Kyi with us here in Hawaii. I'd like to also do a shout out to all of those watching via live stream, and especially the Rotary Global Peace Forum. Thank you so much for helping to bring such a special guest here to our home in Hawaii. It's an honor to introduce a woman known and loved around the world for her integrity and deep commitment to freedom and peace. Aung San Suu Kyi is frequently called Da Su, Da being an honorific title for an older and beloved woman, and can be translated as aunt. Here in Hawaii, we have a similar tradition of respect and call women we care for auntie. So Da Su, it is with much happiness that I may do so today. As I briefly summarize Da Su's life, please keep in mind she did not intend to become a global beacon of freedom or think she would be under house arrest for a total of 15 years in her efforts to achieve democratic reform in Burma. But by remaining true to her convictions to nonviolence and personal peace, she inspired the world. Aung San Suu Kyi was born in 1945 in the now capital city of Yangon. Her father was critical in the creation of a free Burma, ending British colonial occupation in January 1948. Independence also brought the struggle for personal power, and sadly, her father was assassinated that same year. However, the family remained in political life, and Da Su's mother was appointed the Burmese ambassador to India and Nepal. Her life benefited from the education and perspectives gained through her time in many countries around the world. She has lived, worked, or studied in New Delhi and Simha, India, Oxford and London, England, in the US, in New York City, and in Kyoto, Japan. Upon returning home to Burma in 1988 with degrees in political science and economics, Da Su's own political career began when she helped form and lead the National League of Democracy. This action quickly led to her first house arrest by the Burmese military-led government. Faced with leaving her homeland, Da Su chose to remain under house arrest as a prisoner of conscience. While under house arrest, she was not allowed to leave her home and had little access to her family and the outside world. Despite her confinement, Da Su found ways to collaborate with those working to end repressive rule. And over the years, and despite attacks to her and her followers, she has remained unshakable in her belief that the Burmese people must cultivate their own future through an inclusive democratic process. As a result of her moral courage and consistent integrity, Da Su has received over 100 honors, including the Nobel Peace Prize in 1991. The Nobel Prize Committee cited her unflagging efforts and awarded her the prize in part to show its support for the many peoples throughout the world who are striving to attain democracy, human rights, and ethnic conciliation by peaceful means. 21 years later, just last June, Aung San Suu Kyi finally delivered her acceptance speech where she said she was working for Burma to create a free, secure, just society where her people might be able to realize their full potential. Her numerous other awards of note include the Jawaharlal Nehru Award for International Understanding, the USA Congressional Gold Medal, the French Legion of Honor, and the Sakharov Prize for Freedom and Thought. Personally, what strikes me about Da Su is her patience. By staying true to her principles and by showing compassion for all people, her country and the world stood by her and helped her champion her cause for the betterment of humanity. She has said, in terms of history of a far-reaching movement, 20 years is not long. I refer to this thought often in our own family's philanthropic work in building peace, advancing freedom, and elevating human dignity around the world. In so many countries around the world, citizens challenge their government's misuse of power. Da Su reminds us that governance is to be in the service of others, to enable them to be educated, healthy, and work towards their full potential. She has said that some question the relevancy of talking about such matters as loving kindness and truth in the political context. She counters that politics is about people and human behavior. And she has proved, like Mahatma Gandhi, Martin Luther King Jr., Nelson Mandela, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and our dear Archbishop Tutu, that love and truth can move people more strongly than fear or coercion. In closing, I'd like to quote Gandhi. Our greatness lies not so much in being able to remake the world outside us, as most of us are led to believe, as in being able to remake ourselves on the highest model of human achievement that we know of. For me personally, Dasu, you represent this idea fully. We are most grateful for your strong, compassionate voice, not only for the Burmese people, but for the rights of all humanity. Thank you for being a loving aunt to us all. Please join me in welcoming Dasu to the podium.